Hey everyone, Cindy here from Drift. We just launched isolated pools with JLP USDC stacking strategy. Today I'll be talking about what isolated pools are and how you as a trader can benefit from it. So isolated pools are a new way to lend on Drift. They're essentially a separated pool from the main cross-margin pool on Drift, and this enables you to borrow with high LTV and zero borrow origination fees with the maximum amount of collateral that you can take against your position. Isolated pools came from a need to borrow more with the existing pool of capital that we have. All of Drift's stack at the moment, prior to launching isolated pools, were in a main mixed pool where all assets are cross-margin against each other for perps trading. But there grew a new class of traders that essentially wanted to use isolated pools outside of just perps trading and purely for borrowing and lending. So as this class of traders and users grew, we saw an opportunity to isolate assets from the main pool and build a new pool that only prioritizes borrow and lending. What this does is that it effectively creates better yield for the depositors in that pool because you can enable borrows to go up outside of just borrowing for perp trading. So isolated pools really came about as an answer to traders who wanted to primarily borrow versus borrow and trade. Isolated pools are also a way where you can lever up the amount of collateral in your main account, where you can deposit JLP and borrow USDC against that JLP, and then stack your collateral by depositing that USDC back in the main pool and essentially trading perps with that. So you can get a higher LTV by doing that and essentially getting more margin on your account. The other thing that people have been doing with isolated pools is arbitraging the rates between the main pool and the isolated pool. With the main pool, the USDC yields and borrow rates are lower at the moment because of what we said before, which was that the borrow pools are just higher on the isolated pools. So what people have been doing is essentially they're taking the borrow rate in the main pool and depositing that USDC in the second isolated pool, which means that they can arbitrage the rates between the two, earning 1 to 2% annualized. This may not seem like much, but when you're looping that strategy back and forth with leverage, it can quickly add up. So arbitragers and anyone who trades yields for a living can feel free to check out these strategies to run on Drift as well, arbitraging between the main pool and the isolated pool. And with the current JLP and USDC pools already hitting about 10 million in TVL, we're on track to adding a lot more assets into these isolated pools and even launching new isolated pools themselves. So we are also partnering with new stablecoins coming to Solana to become assets in these isolated pools. We'll give you guys a shout out in the next video, but please also let me know what you guys want to see in terms of stablecoins and assets you want to see to be added to the isolated pool. Thanks guys.